What's up everybody, Superdrux fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2016 Chevrolet Camaro V6 RS. Huge thanks to Tom Henry Chevrolet for providing me with this brand new V6 Camaro to review for you guys today. So, you all have seen the SS review already. Of course, this is the V6, which looks just about as good as the SS. You have a slightly less aggressive front bumper there, but it still looks really great, very mean. You still have all those great mean angles, and you don't have all the same vents in the hood that you do with the SS, but otherwise you still got all the same great creases and angry angles and just all the great things that make this car look so mean for this new 6th generation Camaro. Out back, you still have the same great, tail lights. You have the RS badge there on the bumper. Overall, though, I think it is a great design. Right, so the interior of the Camaro V6 here, well, it's very nice. This is the 2LT trim package, so, it's got all the same niceties as the SS that I reviewed, and so, you have these very nice leather seats. That's the first thing, obviously, sitting down in these seats. They're very comfortable, very soft seats. I love these new seats. They have really nice bolstering, enough room to, fit most body types, but they still hug you in really well. They're very soft and, very comfortable. They're perforated leather as well, which is really nice for the heated and cooling functions, and overall just really nice seats. Next is the steering wheel in the Camaro, which is also really nice. Like I mentioned in the SS, it's the same great wheel you get in the SS. That's the really nice thing about it. It's got the flat bottom, and you got the paddles here since this is the automatic, and it's heated, and it has some buttons on it, but overall just a really nice 9-3 grip, little 10-2 notches, and just a nice smaller wheel, and it's really great that you get the same great wheel you get in the SS. The gauges in the V6 Camaro here are also just as nice as the SS, except you have a speedometer that's a little more conservative. This one only goes up to 160 versus the 200 of the other one, but you still have that beautiful digital display here in the 2LTs, and so you have all that great information right up there to show you all your performance data, such as the G meters and digital speedometer, all that good stuff. Coming along to the center of the dashboard here, you have this really nice 8-inch Chevrolet MyLink touch system, and it really works great. It's nice that it has the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto now, and it's a very responsive unit. It's faster than it has been in the past in my experience here, and it even has the cool things like you can customize the interior lighting and do all that kind of cool stuff through the screen as well here. And but overall, it's a really nice screen. It just has all the things you need. It's not cluttered or complicated. It's just really nice and simple, which is refreshing. Coming along to the climate controls here, it's all very nice. So you have the piano gloss black finish here for the heated and cooling part of the seats, and your standard buttons, all very straightforward and nicely laid out. I think you have this very cool thing in all the new Camaros here, where this whole huge dial around the vent is what actually controls the temperature. So you just keep turning that, and it'll go up and down. Very cool to have that, so smartly packaged within there, so you don't have to have an extra knob to do that. It's a very ingenious little idea, and so I really like the design of the interior on these Camaros. They're really cool, very modern, and still have a few little throwbacks here and there. As far as storage space in the Camaro, it's the same as the SS I reviewed just a couple weeks ago, but anyway, you start off with your nice little map pocket here in the door. No bottle holder, unfortunately, but you do have a little map pocket there. And then come along to the center here, you just have your 2 cup holders, and then you have this center armrest here, which is not super soft, but it does have some padding to it here a little bit, and it has the nice contrast stitching here. But you open that up, and you have a shallow center console. You can fit a few things in there. You can see, pens and things like that fit totally fine, and you also will find your 2 USB and also an auxiliary jack in there, and so good to have those in there. But yeah, otherwise there's not really any other storage space. You do have this wireless charging pad in the back, which is very cool if you have a phone that's so equipped for that, but other than that, there's no other cubbies or places to put things, and I wish there was maybe 1 or 2 more, but overall still this is a sporty car, so that's obviously not one of the main focuses. Backseat space in the Camaro is pretty tight. I mentioned that in the SS review as well. It's going to be hard to fit just about anybody back there. I'm 5'9", with the seat in the position that it's in for me. You can hardly even fit a child back there. I mean, it's really tight, and would be okay probably in a pinch if you have passengers in the front here that are willing to put their seats up a little bit to accommodate you, but otherwise it's going to be pretty tough to fit just about anyone back there. Trunk space in the Camaro is very good, actually. They made it a very cool design where it's deeper now and it goes farther back, so it's actually quite a usable space. It's a little bit on the narrow side, but should work for most people, you know, for bringing home the groceries and whatnot. All right, so start off and go for a drive. So, you know, these brand new, very nice Chevrolet key here for 2016, has a nice weight to it and pretty classy looking. Anyway, you can just leave that in your pocket, of course. You just hit the engine start button. It starts right up. Alrighty, so setting off in the 2016 Chevrolet Camaro V6 here. Well, first thing is it's an absolutely miserable day. It's cold and rainy, so not going to be any limit driving going on today. But it's, you know, as far as the Camaro goes here, you know, just setting off, it's a very smooth riding car. It's a, you know, a nice ride. The one thing though that I'm going to be saying a lot of the same stuff I said in the SS review because it's the same body style essentially, but the visibility is the only thing that's, you know, a drawback as far as you know, driving this car goes, really. You know, the visibility is a little bit more challenging. It's not something you can't overcome. You know, I'm only 5'9", and it's still, I can see out just fine. It's just, you know, the windows are all, you know, a little thin. You have a smaller windshield here, and this dashboard here comes up pretty high, so you kind of have to look over that, and if you're trying to park or if you're in, you know, close quarters for some reason. Rear visibility is not the best either. You know, you have a very slim little window there, and that's all you can really see. But, you know, one of the nice things now, you know, you have blind spot monitoring and a backup camera in these cars, so that helps with all those things and helps you to overcome those obstacles a whole lot better than in the past. Now, this being the second day that I've been driving a Camaro here, I've definitely gotten more used to it. It's not quite as bad as when I first got in the SS. I was like, wow, this is hard to see out of. Now it's already getting easier, and it's not quite so bad. So, you know, don't really be too scared of visibility. It's really not something to worry about too much. Another thing right off the bat that you notice is, unlike the SS, which had 4 different driving modes, this one only has 3. So you have a touring, a sport, and a snow and ice. You do not have the track mode that you had in the SS. But yeah, we'll put it into this sport mode here and put the transmission into the manual mode, and we'll see here how well it puts down power in the rain. Alrighty, so straightened out here, and let's see how it does. V6 sounds good. It still gets up to speed pretty quick here. Really good power, I gotta say, and that sounds really good. Now, this does not have the active exhaust mode, so this is just the standard bass exhaust, and still sounds pretty good, I gotta say. It's got a nice little rumble, nice little growl to it, much better than the old V6 Camaros and other competitor V6 models. This actually has a sound to it, which is nice. So we're dealing with 335 horsepower from this 3.6 liter V6 engine, and it's definitely one of those engines that loves to be revved, that's for sure. It, you know, it's got, you know, some decent punch down low, but it just loves to sing all the way up to that 7,000 RPM red line. But yeah, I mean, it's really great performance. So 0 to 60 is 5.1 seconds here for the automatic version. I believe the manual is about 1/10 of a second slower. And I gotta say, this manual mode here for this transmission is actually better, I think, than the SS, just slightly, just by the driving I'm doing here in sport mode. It's pretty quick to shift, a little bit quicker, I think, even than the last time I drove one of these. So maybe the 8-speed gets better with time as well, I don't know. All right, so let's turn on this back road here and see how it does. Ooh, we hear that sound! This thing, man, GM knows how to tune a stock exhaust. I mean, I haven't heard a V6 that sounded that good since the F-Type. Man, so we got a proper downpour going on, which is slightly unfortunate, but I gotta say, this car actually puts down the power really, really well, and I think that's because the V6 doesn't have, obviously, nearly as much torque as the V8, or as much horsepower either, but, you know, 284 pound-feet of torque is actually less than the Turbo 4, but, you know, for the $1,500 upcharge over the Turbo 4, you get an extra 60 horsepower, which makes it almost a no-brainer, I think, in my opinion, because this V6 just sounds really sweet, too, and probably better than the 4-cylinder will. But yeah, let's sample that power again, shall we? Because, you know, we have a stop sign, so we must stop and then accelerate again. There's a little wheel spin that time. Oh man, that sounds so good. I really wish it wasn't raining. I could give you some GoPro sounds. Man, that is just a wonderful sounding V6. Very impressive Chevrolet. Anyway, on these corners, it has all the same great poise and athleticism that the V8 did. It dives into corners. It's just, it's still feels, you know, like it's not as light as, you know, a Corvette or anything, but it definitely is such a better handler than the old ones. It really is much more sporty, that's for sure. And you keep this V6 in these upper rev ranges, and it really loves to just sing and work with you. And man, what a fun car this still is. I gotta say, I mean, obviously the V8 is the more dramatic, the crazier and more insane one, but this V6 is still plenty of fun for a good amount less money. Anyway, just calming down a little bit here now and cruising on a road where someone is reversing in the wrong lane. Anyway, so cruising, you know, a little bit more relaxed here now on this normal road, and it's a really nice driving thing, you know. It's very refined. The ride is still very smooth. These roads are, you know, of the rougher variety, and it's very smooth ride. You know, you have a little bit of that road noise because of these roads, but it's actually pretty quiet in here otherwise. Just leaving the transmission in the automatic mode here, it's you know, I still have it in sport mode, but it's still very eager to downshift, give you the gear you want. And you know, this is the 8-speed automatic that General Motors has in all of their other products these days, and it's a really great transmission. You know, it's not the absolute fastest in the performance segment, but it is still pretty quick, and it's right up there, you know, with most of the other really good quick automatic transmissions, and it's pretty impressive. Obviously, I still prefer the manual. You know, a lot of enthusiasts will agree with me. The manual is always going to be the more fun option, and it's also cheaper by $1,500. It's a $1,500 option to upgrade here to the automatic. But you know, for those of you that need an automatic, you sit in lots of traffic or whatever, the automatic is still a great choice. I love it. The manual, though, is probably you know, the more enthusiast-oriented option of the bunch. But either way, it's still really, really fun. Now, there is the same thing about this one that the SS had too, and that is the dead travel in the throttle pedal. You really, I think in the automatics it's a little more progressive, whereas the manual, it was like an on-off switch where you had complete dead travel for like an inch, and then you actually hit the gas, and it was a little bit of a disconnect there. I wish it was a little more in sync. With the automatic, it's just like you don't know if it's the transmission that's kind of lagging behind, or if it's the gas pedal. I think it's the gas pedal, because this transmission, whenever you're shifting it manually, it's giving you the gears plenty fast enough. I think it still has that same dead travel in the gas pedal, so you really got to put your foot into it to get it to do stuff. It's not a very sensitive gas pedal, I guess, and you know, but that's okay. That's something you can get used to like anything else. But you know, I think that you know, it would definitely be improved if they just fine-tuned the gas pedal a little bit, made it a little more sensitive. I think it would be a lot more fun. But I mean, you can see I'm just going around corners, no problem. I mean, just no body roll. It just handles so much sharper. It's definitely sharper than the competition for sure. It's really impressive. I think right out of the box. Obviously, you could do improvements here and there, but it doesn't really need much, honestly. I mean, you now have a fantastic stock exhaust, and you can get a great sounding one for like $800 from Chevrolet with a dual mode thing, which would be even sweeter sounding. And then you have, you know, really great suspension out of the box. Everything is just like, there's not really a whole lot, you know, you need to go to the aftermarket for. It used to be with cars before, it was like, well, it's bad in this way or that way, but you can fix that and just buy extra parts. But now it's like you don't really have to fix anything. It's just, it's really so good. It's right out of the box, and it's really impressive. Listen to that exhaust all day. It sounds so good for a V6. Man, it's one of the best sounding V6s out there. Anyway, so yeah, I've been driving this car for a little while longer here now, and it's really just a great car. It's still great. I mean, obviously the SS is the most fun one. I think it's obviously because it's faster and whatnot, but this V6 is certainly not much of a compromise. It's still very exciting, very dramatic. It's not as lively in the back, and that's one thing I can say for sure is, you know, because of the less power, the back end doesn't dance around as much. So the handling is actually, I'd say, a little more sure-footed in the V6 than it is with the V8, because the V6 you can actually still be really aggressive with the throttle and whatnot, and it stays planted in the corners, and you know, doesn't make you quite as nervous that the back end's going to kick out like you do with the V8. This one, as equipped, is $38,000, which is a little bit on the high side, but then again, you have all the niceties you have with the SS and whatnot. You still have a really great engine, and you're saving, you know, a good $5,000 at least over the actual, you know, SS. So a good amount of savings there, and of course you'll get some slightly better fuel economy as well with the V6. So it's a really great option, a very compelling purchase. But anyway, huge thanks to Tom Henry Chevrolet for hooking me up once again with another brand new awesome Camaro here to review for you guys today. And I also want to add that Tom Henry Chevrolet is getting in new Camaros every week almost, and so if you want to get one very soon, you should definitely check out the description below and contact them, and they'll be more than happy to help you out with getting one. And so yeah, let me know what you think about the V6 and you know, your opinions of it, and what you would rather have, V6 or V8. I'm sure many of you would most likely have the V8, but this V6 is really great for those that can't quite afford the V8. This is still a wonderful option, and Chevrolet has just done an awesome job of tuning the exhaust and everything just to make this a really fun driving experience still. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.